Hello and welcome to News Central Now. I am Adebola Adedwa. The top stories at this hour. A third successive bomb explosion rocked Zamfara in 5 days. The People's Democratic Party condemns President Tinubu's economic policies. Less than 24 hours to the general elections in Ghana, Ghanaians speak on their expectations. And details shortly. Let's begin with security matters, where 2 explosive devices believed to have been planted by bandits went off at separate locations in the Dansadau District of Maru local government area of Zamfara State. The 2 explosives occurred on the road between Dansadau and Malamawa and another in Malele Road, all in the Dansadau District. Umaru Hamad Salisu, a resident of Maru, told News Central that passengers in a truck going to Dansadau weekly market escaped death after the truck loaded with grains ignited the bomb. And this is a third explosion in 5 days in the Dansadau Emirate, occurring on Sunday, Wednesday, and on Friday. Security operatives have taken over the Gidan Rumfa Palace, the official residence of Emir Muhammadu Sanusi II, creating an atmosphere of tension in Kano State. A News Central's correspondent in Kano reports that officers of the Nigerian police have prevented the Emir from attending a stakeholders meeting scheduled to hold in the state. Unconfirmed reports suggest that the incident coincides with the plans for the Emir to address a group of economists regarding the contentious tax reform bills. As of the time of this report, police vehicles have blocked all entrances to the palace with no official explanation provided for the heightened security. Authorities are yet to release a statement on the situation. Away from that, the President General of Okuama community in Delta State Ugeli South local government area, Pa James Ogoroko, has reportedly died while in military custody. Ogoroko was arrested alongside other community leaders, including Professor Arthur Ikpepo, Chief Belvis Adogbo, and Pa Dennis Ukugbaye, between August 18 and 2024. The arrests followed a violent incident in the community that led to the deaths of 17 soldiers and subsequent military action in the area. Outraged by detention, the Okuama community filed a lawsuit against the Nigerian Army, seeking 100 million naira in damages for what they described as illegal detention. A federal high court had adjourned the bail hearing for the arrested leaders to December 9, 2024, but Ogoroko's death occurred just days before the scheduled hearing. And for more on that, we're joined by our correspondent, Austin Azu. Austin, good evening. Glad to have you join me on the news. If you can hear me, what's been the general sentiment within the Okuama community following the news of the President General's death and the military detention?
Yes, good evening. What's currently happened in Okuama, precisely like what you rightly pointed out, is the sudden death of the President General of the community, and the community is quite saddened and they are mourning at the moment. However, a press conference was earlier held today in Warri by some community leaders from the community, pleading to the federal government, the state governments, and relevant authorities to prevail on the military to release their other detained kinsmen that have been in their custody since August this year. Of course, the Okuama bloodbath thereafter has led to the dissolutions of the community. Of course, we know quite well that the women and the children are still at the IDP camp at the moment. And of course, we quite understood quite well that since the kinsmen from the community were arrested, the leadership of the community has been put on hold, and some other people who are now rallying around to see how they will be able to come together to speak in one voice. However, they came together this afternoon to, express their displeasure over what the military tends to have, brought their community to, and they are still appealing to the relevant authorities to prevail on the military so that those in current detention, like the treasurer and the other people that were arrested, should please be released so that they can reunite with them, so that they will have that reunion again while they are waiting for the government to begin the rebuilding process, which he promised them after the military left the community when they held the community for 6 weeks and thereabout before they finally returned back to their ancestral home.
We understand, Austin, that the community leadership has conveyed a press conference, to address the matter to authorities there. What can you say about this?
Yes, like what I rightly said earlier on, their concerns remains the fact that they are law-abiding citizens and they want a peaceful atmosphere for them to return back to their ancestral homes, not fully aware what played out in March 14 and subsequent military invasion, and even their neighboring communities that, perceived that it seems to be a threat to them. However, what they are equally clamoring for is that their people should be released from detention. You know quite well that when the military, struck the community and they brought the community to rubble, some people were declared wanted. Among those that were declared wanted was the traditional ruler from the kingdom, who submitted himself voluntarily to the Nigerian police. Thereafter, he was handed over down to the military. After a few weeks thereabout, was released. And other people subsequently didn't submit themselves voluntarily, and some of them were picked up randomly across the state. Since their arrest, they have been crying and lamenting that the federal government should take pity and consider and release those people unconditionally before the lawsuit was launched against the Nigerian military. Before, of course, the hearing is supposed to be on the 9th of this month, but however, with what played out yesterday, of course, from what we gathered so far, the council to the community have made up its arrangement to meet with the family of the President General to meet with him probably before they will further continue with the case. But by and large, the community, they are still mourning and they are still crying. One thing they are demanding is that the federal governments, the state governments, and relevant authorities should prevail on the Nigerian military so that those who are currently in detention could be released. One among them was the current treasurer of the community, whom they said is currently sick and he needs some medical attention. And they claims that they have not been able to communicate with them for the past few days, alleging that if care is not taken, another person would die again, which they don't pray for. That the only way they can be able to, salvage the situation is for them to release those in detention so that they will be able to take, go for medical attention. Because where they are at the moment, they claim that they are poorly treated. They allege that they are being, tortured. And because of what they put together, that this trauma might have led to what led to the death of the President General. And not only that as well, that those who are still, battling for their health needs to be, brought to public consumption, just the way they lost one of them just a few days ago.
All right, thank you so much for your coverage, Austin Azu. We'll keep in touch with you, of course, to see how things turn out. Many thanks, Austin. In the meantime, Amnesty International has alleged that nothing less than 10,000 have died in the custody of the Nigerian Army since the Boko Haram conflict began in the northeast. The organization's country director, Issa Sanusi, who disclosed this at a briefing in Maiduguri, also accused Boko Haram and the military of many abuses. According to him, military personnel violated rules of engagement while carrying out their assignments in the region. He regretted how the military denied the involvement of its personnel in atrocity after being served with Amnesty's report before it was made public. Sanusi announced that a human rights body had already filed the case before the International Court of Justice, ICJ, at The Hague over alleged crimes against humanity in the northeast. He also unveiled a 144-page report titled Help Us Build Our Lives, Girls Survivors of Boko Haram and Military Abuses in Northeast Nigeria. Let's also tell you that Amnesty International says the fight against Boko Haram is coming to an end, but it cannot end without justice for the survivors and victims of the years of atrocities. And this was when the Research and Campaign Organization presented its 115-page report titled Help Us Build Our Lives, Girls Survivors of Boko Haram and Military Abuses, held in Maiduguri, Borno State. News Central's Umaru Kirawa tells us more.
Many girls and young women coming out of Boko Haram, returning to their communities or towns has not been easy. Forced marriage, rape and sexual slavery, among others, are what the girls and women survivors faced. Amnesty International now presents a report which focuses on the experience of girls associated or perceived to be associated with Boko Haram since May 2013.
We believe that there should be empowerment, there should be justice, there should be accountability, whether it is on the side of Boko Haram or on the side of the Nigerian military or whoever. We believe that this conflict can only come to an end when there is justice. Without justice, the conflict will never come to an end.
And what they were requesting was and is government support for education, access to healthcare, and livelihood opportunities.
Amnesty International, in its report, provided recommendations to both Nigerian authorities, the United Nations, and the Boko Haram terrorists.
If you say that Boko Haram crisis is over and over, what do you do with the grievances of these people? What do you do with the families that have lost their breadwinners? Somebody went to the farm, he did not return. Somebody in Burma said that he is going to Maiduguri to buy some things and come back. Since 2011, he has not come back up to now. So the resolution for this kind of people and these girls that we mention in our report is justice. They should be empowered, they should be given the care, because they are human beings. And we believe that unless as a country we start to give attention to these things, there is no way we can make progress.
Nigeria's country director of Amnesty International, Issa Sanusi, stated that it has lodged a complaint with the International Criminal Court regarding human rights violations allegedly committed by the Nigerian military and Boko Haram terrorists against conflict victims. Improved awareness to end stigmatization, improved detention facilities of the Nigerian authorities are also some of the recommendations by the Amnesty International report. In Maiduguri for News Central, Umaru Kirawa.
Let's take a short break now. When we return, PDP blasts President Tinubu's economic policies. Details shortly. Join us. And thank you for staying with us. The Nigerian police have filed fresh charges against human rights lawyer Adele Farotimi over allegations of cybercrime. The police filed 12 fresh counts against Farotimi, according to court documents. He is accused of transmitting false information and harassing individuals online. Farotimi had appeared in court on Wednesday on initial charges. The police action is seen as a move to frustrate his bail application. The lawyer is known for his advocacy for justice and good governance. The case has sparked concerns about freedom of expression in Nigeria. The Nigerian police had arraigned Farotimi before an Ekiti state court over allegations of cybercrime. The chairman of the PDP's Board of Trustees, Senator Adolphus Wabara, has slammed President Bola Tinubu's administration for pushing Nigerians into poverty. Wabara accused the government of worsening hardship across the country with its economic policies. He cited the skyrocketing costs of living and poorly implemented economic reforms as factors that have pushed millions into deeper poverty. Wabara also emphasized the need for party unity, urging members to prioritize collective progress over personal ambition. Earlier, we were joined by business, political, and public policy analyst Kenneth Ikenwa to discuss this.
First key question we need to ask when these policies are actually shipped abroad and shipped to Nigeria is to ask the question, does this qualify or does this fit into our context? Does this fit into our culture? Does this accommodate the economic realities of the Nigerian peoples? The answer is usually no. These policies are usually to the benefit of a select few, and these policies are aimed at fostering and enforcing the dependency of countries like Nigeria on Western nations, on Bretton Woods nations for their survival, and end up creating enclave nations and semi-peripheral nations like Nigeria to the benefit of the West. Now, when we come back to the major aspect of that question, we would see the possibility of a reversal is there if we now will begin to look inwards, like other countries like China did look inwards, Singapore did look inward, Brazil did look inward, unify the country away from the sentiments of tribe, ethnicity, and religion, and have a vision. What is the Nigerian vision? What is the vision of this administration for Nigeria? What is the long-term vision for Nigeria by 2050, even by 2100? These are strategic elements in our trajectory as a nation that are actually lacking.
And now to the power sector, where the Senate said the privatization of the power sector 11 years ago has been a total failure because of the inconsistency in power supply and frequent national grid collapses. The Red Chamber warned that it might propose legislative measures to repeal the policy as part of efforts to ensure a stable power supply in the country. And this followed the consideration of a report by the Committee on Power, which investigated frequent national grid collapses and related issues, chaired by Senator Enyi Abaribe of Abia South. Abaribe, who presented the reports of the committee's findings, said factors such as aging infrastructure, abandoned projects worth trillions of naira, regulatory inefficiencies, security lapses, lack of modern monitoring system like SCADA, and inadequate financial oversight were responsible for the frequent grid failures. Earlier, MD Idfon Power Engineering Consultants Limited, Idowu Oyebanjo, shared his insight on this.
The Electricity Act requests a number of things. One, every state now has the right to generate, transmit, distribute, and supply electricity to its citizens. So Kaduna State the government of Kaduna State now has the right to produce electricity for its people. And that is a kind of decentralization of the power sector. The decentralization there means that each state will sell electricity to its people, and where there is surplus, they will also sell it to the rest of the country. If you look at what has happened in Abia State recently, geometric power, independent power plants. So in a section of Abia State, you have this geometric power, Professor Batinaji owned company, and they are supplying electricity to a section of the area of the state, like Ariara and Co. Now, that is what the Electricity Act is asking states to do. And you'll be surprised, since 12 months over, now going to 18 months, only 7 states have had the courage out of the lot.
Minister of Works Dave Umahi has come out swinging in defense of President Bola Tinubu's Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway project. Umahi claims that critics of the project are simply jealous and envious of the president's performance. He also praised the Senate Committee on Works for their support, particularly Senator Mpidi Barinada, who moved the motion for Tinubu to continue in 2027 to complete the project. Umahi's comments came after an interactive session with the Senate Committee on Works, where he also touted the project's economic benefits and promised transparency on its cost.
Born out of envy and jealous. You know, how can a man have a dream 25 years ago as a governor, and then God gave him the divine, opportunity to actualize the dream? There is envy and jealous. The people that envy him never believe that he can turn around the economy, and it takes God for him to turn around. There's no decision taken by the president that has ever failed, including this tax reform bill. When people, stop the suspicion and digest it very well, they will know it's a catalyst for the growth of every state in this country.
The British Deputy High Commissioner, in collaboration with the Lagos State Domestic and Sexual Violence Agency, in commemoration of 16 days of activism, has emphasized the importance of gender inclusion in ending gender-based violence in Nigeria. They believe the rejection of harmful masculinities and the promotion of mindful men are essential steps to fighting the scourge. News Center's Omolola Ololade tells us more in this report.
Educating boys about consent, Respect and healthy relationships is the start to equipping the male child to challenge harmful behavior and attitudes. In the fight against gender-based violence, the British Deputy High Commissioner and the Lagos State Domestic and Sexual Violence Agency brought together schoolboys from different schools across the state to discuss the root causes and consequences of GBV.
Many of the causes of gender-based violence are about culture, they're about norms. And in order to change culture and norms, we need the whole of society to think about what that culture is, to think about what those norms are, and that includes boys and young men. And I think it's high time that we bring them into the discussion. We help them think about the way that their behavior can change.
The schoolboys, however, participated in a mentorship program with the King's Club, a subsidiary of Lagos State's Domestic and Sexual-Based Violence Agency, created to train young boys on the need to take proactive actions against gender-based violence.
It's an opportunity for us to engage primary and secondary school students, young boys, on these issues, leveraging our curriculum, which we designed in partnership with the Ministry of Education, engage boys on critical issues such as sexual and gender-based violence, sexual and reproductive rights and health, promoting positive masculinity, anger management, grit, tenacity and resilience, with the hope that as they grow up with this new information, there will be a change in behavior.
While there is so much attention on the schoolboys, the Lagos State government says plans are underway to involve boys who are also out of school.
In the ministry, we continuously rescue kids off the street. Some of them that we see that are able to be rehabilitated, we take them to our homes, rehabilitate them, and some of them, and after that, we either integrate them back with their families or, hand them over to our Ministry of Education to see if they can be educated.
The parent is going to know the capacity of each child and what each child is good at and not.
While the boys agreed the mentorship program was a learning curve for them, the mentors emphasized the role of parents and the entire community in building responsible boys and men for the future.
Parents focus on your children as well. The other thing that to me is important for parents to do is create an enabling environment.
Even though men remain a large part of the problem, they also fall victim of GBV, hence the need to continually equip them with the trainings to prevent and combat gender-based violence. In Lagos for News Central, I am Omolola Ololade.
Let's take a look regarding skill acquisition affecting Nigerians. Amid rising unemployment rates and the evolving economic landscape, the young Nigerians are stepping into unconventional fields and discovering high-paying opportunities in industries like tech and music. Our correspondent Chidima On explains and explores how these industrious individuals are redefining career paths and creating the success stories. From self-taught tech entrepreneur to a rising music star, their journeys showcase the power of skills, creativity, and determination.
Nigerians are finding innovative ways to secure high-paying opportunities in industries previously thought to be out of reach. By mastering new skills, adapting to market demands, and seizing global opportunities, they are reshaping the nation's workforce and inspiring others to follow suit. Take Eunice Eze, for example, a 25-year-old tech entrepreneur who has now found her footing in the tech industry.
I know a lot of people might not agree with me, but I'm grateful for COVID. Because before COVID, I was just a final year chemical engineering student that was just, after school, I would do NYSC. Last, I would just end up in my uncle's company and they'll just pay me whatever they want to pay me, right? 2023, I got like my first full-time job as a product designer. And while working at Zeda as a product designer, I also had like contract roles for certain companies in the UK, in Nigeria.
In the creative industry, young musician David Decker is making waves in the Afrobeat scene, utilizing digital platforms to gain recognition and generate income through streams, endorsements, and live performances.
Back in the day, I would say I love to record when people are all around, but these days I like to be my producer, me and him alone in this space to connect and, create from scratch, because it's just both of us. We are the creatives, So I love to experiment a lot, try new things, infuse my culture into how I sound and all that.
Chukwuemeka, a young career coach who has guided numerous young Nigerians, emphasizes the importance of aligning skills with market trends, building a robust network, and prioritizing productivity over the pursuit of money.
Oftentimes what people make, they make decisions based on how much money you're offering. But what we've come to discover is that when you begin to earn above what you are qualified to earn, at some point that earning becomes a distraction. It reduces your productivity because at some point your actual focus will be more on the money than on productivity.
While their journeys differ, Eunice, David, and Chukwuemeka share a unified message. Success lies in self-discipline, adaptability, and the willingness to learn and grow. Their stories are a testament to the resilience and resourcefulness of Nigerian youth, who are not just participants in global markets, but are increasingly leading the charge. In Lagos for News Central, I am Chidima Ona.
The highly anticipated Experience 19, an annual all-night gospel music concert, is set to take center stage today at Tafawa Balewa Square, showcasing the rich tapestry of gospel music and psalms. This year's edition, tagged Jesus Waits, according to organizers, promises to be an unforgettable experience, culminating in the unveiling of the guest artist.
We serve a God who exceeds himself every time you encounter him. So I'm just expectant, I'm excited.
As people from all denominations gather together at the Tafawa Balewa Square, a very significant altar, a sacred place in our history, an important part of the beginnings of Nigeria, and the place where we choose to worship and have chosen to do so for the better part of 19 years of the history of the Experience. May I welcome you again to D-Day, and may I again say a huge shout out to all our artists. We look forward to hearing your collective.
There's going to be miracles, and that we're going to see what we've not seen before.
As we collectively with our hearts worship him for who he is, all he has done, and what he's about to do.
Looking forward to the outpour of God's presence, the manifestation of his power, and I trust that God will do even much more this year.
And I can't wait to see what God has in store for us today.
This year, we look forward to more of him. God bless you.
Trust the Lord tonight for the commanded blessing.
I'm very thrilled that Lecrae and Limbo Blaze are here this year.
His first time at the Experience, Bidemi Alaba.
Thank you so much.
Coming up, less than 24 hours to go until polls open in Ghana. The citizens speak on their expectations. Details shortly. Join us again. Ghanaians march to the polls hours to choose who will become the next president. The two major candidates are familiar faces, with one being the current vice president and his strongest opponent being a former president. A News Center's correspondent Bernard Akede is in Kumasi, where he's been speaking with residents on what they expect come Saturday's polls.
Officially, campaigns are now over. Vice President Mahamudu Bawumia of the ruling New Patriotic Party, NPP, faced by a very strong major opposition, former President John Mahama. But regardless of who is coming in, there are pressing issues that citizens of Ghana want to be addressed.
Now the unemployment rate is very high, and then the exchange rate is also very high, because everything that we use in Ghana, almost 70% are being imported from other countries to this place.
This economy is really bad. We can't even afford to buy common gari. Right now, gari is really, really expensive in Ghana. Although we have our peace, but gari is really expensive. Konkonte face the wall. It's 1 cup is 7 cedis right now. First, it was like 1 cedi 50 pesos.
The people seem to be divided between the two major candidates. While some feel the main opposition, former President John Mahama, will be the right person for the job, having been there before. Others feel if he got it right before, he wouldn't need to come back for a second shot.
You've been there before, we know you already. You know what you can do. So why didn't you do it? And now that you want to come and do it? No, for that one, it doesn't make sense.
We all know the NDC is coming back, you understand? Yeah, our economy is destroyed, everything is hardship, everything is hard here. So now we all hope, we're hoping for the NDC to come power.
Like the person who can come to opposition and have been helping us through everything is NDC. I really love NDC so much today, because right now, since MPP came to opposition, like the economy is very, very bad.
As for preparedness of the Electoral Commission and security on election day, Ghanaians appear pretty confident in the Electoral Commission of Ghana and believe the exercise will be peaceful.
I can say the challenges is how fast they verify their voters, how fast they verify. It delays how they verify. You join a queue for a long time before you're able to get to the ballot box and vote.
Oh, Ghana is a very, very peaceful country, yeah. This country is a very, very peaceful country, and this election is very, very peaceful. I hope there will be peace.
From all indications, it appears that the challenges that Ghanaians are facing is similar to those that most Africans are facing. They are asking for better employment opportunities for the youth. They are asking for improvement in the economy, better healthcare, better education. In very few hours, all of this will now be decided in the general elections. In Kumasi for News Central, I'm Bernard Akede.
And also joining us is Professor Etse Sikanku of the University of Media, Arts and Communications in Ghana. Prof, good evening from here. I understand Ghana is just 1 hour behind Nigeria. Glad to have you join me on the news.
Good evening. It's an honor to be with you.
Absolutely. Let me kick off by asking how you would describe the mood in Ghana in view of the election.
Well, the atmosphere is very charged. It's a very expectant atmosphere, and people are ready. People are ready to vote tomorrow. I think everything that should be done is done. Yesterday, the final rallies were held by both parties. There's a lot of conversation going on today. Is coincidentally a public holiday. It's Farmers' Day, the day we celebrate farmers. And so those who need to travel have traveled for tomorrow's election or are traveling for tomorrow's election. So I think the mood is very expectant, and people are ready. I think people are ready to vote.
Well, from reports, we've seen that there are just 2 major contenders of all the 20 aspirants. Whom do you think will likely sail the ship of Ghana in the right direction?
Oh, I wish I knew, really. It's hard to tell because this is an election that really has different permutations and different issues at stake. It's very close at this moment. If you look at some of the polling that has been done, some of them, for instance, the EIU, Global Info Analytics, have put President Mahama as the clear winner, getting over 50%. I believe they have him in the 52s or something thereabout, winner. Other polls that have come in by other recognized institutions and pollsters, like Professor Smart Sapong and others, also have Dr. Bawumia ahead. So it is an election that we would have to wait for the poll of polls to happen tomorrow. And that it's just a few hours away. So at this point, we just have to wait for the ultimate poll, which is the voice of the people tomorrow.
Well, just like Nigeria, I would believe there are pressing issues you'd like to see addressed by whoever wins. And so what are these issues?
Yeah, thank you. Quite a number of issues are dominating the election. If you look at this 2024 election, the issues that circumscribe or dominate this election, I'll start. First of all, it's the economy. I guess that's no surprise to anybody. It's one of the major issues, usually in elections, not just in Ghana, but I'm sure in other parts of the world. But yes, in Ghana, it's a big issue at this point. People are feeling the pinch of the economy. They think times are hard. Although the government has said, and there are some indications that a turnaround is happening, but, well, fortunately or unfortunately, it hasn't come quick enough. The elections are here. And so people have been complaining about the increasing hardship that is that they are experiencing. People want to see their incomes increase. So the economy is going to be one. The jobs is going to be another. Many people have not been without jobs for some time. Unemployment is a major issue among young people. The government has said that it provided over 2.3 million jobs since they came into power over the past couple of years. But there is increasing concerns among many young people about as far as job opportunities are concerned. So that is one. Inflation, of course, was a major part of the issue, but that has seen some improvement, but people are yet to see it in terms of the prices. So this is something that would influence how people are going to vote or the choices that they'll make. But apart from that, one issue that has also come up very strongly is education. It hasn't been as much of an issue this cycle as it was in 2016 or 2020, but for some reason, it has been injected back into the race. But I think it's because of the government's flagship program, which is free secondary education. It's an unprecedented, major, widespread policy that has never happened since independence in the country. Everybody, of course, it has been implemented in a way, but not in such a widespread manner as it is now. And while the government is touting it as their flagship program and shows their capability of providing accessible education for many Ghanaians, there are people who are complaining about the manner in which it has been implemented. And many people are calling for a review of this particular policy. But there is a sense that many more people have had access to secondary education. It's become a very popular, or at least a very popular topic. And so I think that would also be an issue that would dominate the election. Then there's energy. Many people are concerned that the energy crisis that seemed to have been addressed in the past years that seem to have been obliterated are gradually sneaking back in. And so there are concerns about that as well. There will also be concerns about, I believe, corruption. Yes, corruption is always a major issue in an election, but it is more not about the candidate, but about the previous incumbent government. And so many people are saying that, well, it's about time that there is a switch. Another major issue is infrastructure. Many people are concerned about the routes in their localities, the inner routes especially, and they believe that they want to experience more infrastructural development. And so I think that these are the issues that people are going to look at and vote on.
Well, quite a number of issues you outlined there. May I say, may the best man win. Thank you so much for your time on the news. Professor Etse Sikanku of the University of Media, Arts and Communications in Ghana. Many thanks indeed for your time.
Thank you. It was good to be with you again.
At least 9 bodies have been retrieved from Stillfontein mine, where many are believed to still be trapped underground for weeks now. More illegal miners have been resurfacing from abandoned surrounding shafts. Meanwhile, relatives and the community continue to send food down Shaft 11.
Very much, guys. Today we have deported the some water, bottled water, and some instant porridge. Yes, you must understand there was a letter that requested some traditional things. Yes, as everyone has his own culture or her own culture. So they've requested that we must just give them 1.5 liter of soja beer, impepper, BB, snuff, and 1 white candle, so that they can perform some of a ritual. As much as they see, there are a lot of lives, lots of souls they've lost underground. So they had to perform something just to stop that thing of people dying no one done. So that's why we had to send those things, but through the agreement with the law enforcement agency, we managed to do that. Because on a base, my duty is very simple, just to stand there on the hole and take the food down to them. Whatever is going down there, I'm not sure what is happening. Whatever we came up with as the community leaders is that we'll go out there and ask for donations so that people, they can get food, they can get their strength from there, they must resurface. Our aim and responsibility is very simple. People, they must resurface, face the might of the law, simple as that. No, I think from the last letter that we received from underneath, they told us about 6 people who have passed on. But after that, they give us another letter, say that the person just passed on now. I think that was the last person who made the number to be 7. From there, they said to us we must start now resurfacing the sick people. That's why these 2 you see now just resurface are the sick people. I think after we continue, after the volunteers are done having their lunch, they will go back and start again resurfacing sick people. But if ever there's going to be any deceased, we'll hear the communication from underneath. From there, we'll be knowing that we are retrieving a sick person or a alive person or a dead person.
In business, the Nigerian government has commenced 50 naira electronic levy deductions from transactions of 10,000 naira and above made by users of financial technology. Now, the levy, called Electronic Money Transfer Levy, EMTL, introduced under the Finance Act of 2020, places a singular and one-off levy of 50 naira on the recipient of any electronic receipt or transfer of 10,000 naira or above. Oluwagunwa Ibirogba, chairman of Lagos Chapter, Association of Mobile Money and Bank Agent of Nigeria, was our guest on Business Edge earlier today.
But one thing is that if you want to get a larger crop or a larger coverage, we can reduce it because it's just like a margin and it's a return. So if they bring it down, bring the cap down to maybe like 20 naira, 10 naira, it will be more sustainable because basically it's still going to come in trunks. But that 50 naira, it's like a big blow. 50 naira on any transaction because it's going to affect a lot of things. How many 50 naira do I have to get? Do I have 50 naira? Even if you walk out on the street, to get 50 naira is an issue. It's going to be a humongous tax. So it's something that the government also needs to look at while we are also trying to adjust in the ways we do things are going to be at the end of at the final end of it because it's been transferred. Now the transaction you are doing for 100 naira before, you are now going to have to do 150. And some people will, because of the trouble of getting 50 naira, they will say, right, let's just do 200. So who's going to bear it? And that margin of increase is going to also affect, just like it affects in transportation, it affects everywhere. The cost of living is rising, but one thing is that, should it be done? It has always been there.
In the world of sport, Nigerian referee Joseph Ogabo will officiate the CAF Confederation Cup match between Mozambique's Black Bull and Egypt's Al Masry. The appointment highlights Ogabo's growing reputation across African football. Abdulmajid Usman, Olaide and Yakubu Mohammed, also from Nigeria, will serve as assistant referees 1 and 2 respectively. The 4th official role was given to Abubakar Abdullahi, and Mbabusa Bernard of Burundi will work as the referee assessor. Burkina Faso have today confirmed that its national team will not participate in the first edition of the West African Football Union Zone B Under-17 Girls Tournament. And this was made known through a letter addressed to the Executive Directorate of WAFOB by the Burkina Faso Football Federation. Burkina Faso were drawn alongside hosts Ghana and Benin Republic in Group A. The inaugural tournament is scheduled to take place in Ghana from 12th December to 26th December 2024. Lionel Messi has been named the 2024 London Donovan MLS MVP, crowning a campaign in which he captained Inter Miami CF en route to their first ever Supporters' Shield title and the MLS single-season points record. Messi led MLS with 36 goals contributions, the 5th highest single-season total in league history, despite only playing in 19 matches amid injuries and Copa America duty. Miami only lost 1 regular season game, with Messi in the lineup going 12 win, 1 loss, 6 draw, and averaging 2.68 goals scored per match. Additionally, the 8-time Ballon d'Or winner helped Miami become the first team to record at least 11 wins at home and on the road. In 2024, Messi joined former MVPs Carlos Vela and Sebastian Giovinco as the only players in MLS history with at least 20 goals and 15 assists in a single season. And that's all on the news. Let's take a look again at some of the major stories. That successive bomb explosion has rocked Zamfara in 5 days. The PDP has condemned President Tinubu's economic policies. We also told you that less than 24 hours to elections, Ghanaians have spoken on their expectations. You can watch Central live on DSTV, channel 422, Star Times, channel 274, Avo TV, and YouTube. Many thanks for watching. I am Adibola Adidiba.